Hi there guys, it's Chris here with selfmadenewbie.com, and in this video we're going to go through the best soil moisture meters currently out there today. Now I've kept this list as comprehensive as possible, narrowing it down to my absolute favorite top 5 picks, so no matter what you're looking for, there'll definitely be something on this list for you. So before we jump in, drop a like and subscribe and hit the bell to be updated with new videos. Alright, so as usual I'm going to skip the small talk and jump right in. If you want to confirm what those recommendations are, go down in the description there and check out that list to guarantee you get the lowest price. Alright, so the first one on my list is going to go to my recommendation for the best for most people, and this is the Xlux soil moisture meter. So if Sherlock Holmes gave up detective work to focus on his Hydra gears, he'd definitely keep an Xlux soil moisture meter in his garden shed. It's elementary really, it's a device so simple yet also so brilliant, it's like a substitute teacher who can actually control a classroom. Now the Xlux soil moisture meter works on all kinds of soil, be it as dry as a British summer or as wet as my humor. Forget about collaborating, just shove it in the ground and the dial practically yells at you, your soil's dry. And it says it in shades of red, or you've got the dampness level of a British basement flat when it glows blue. Even though it has a 10-point scale, you just look at the color. It's a no-nonsense gadget, no batteries, no charging. It's like that mate who's always ready for a pint. And let's face it, in a world where your phone needs an update every time you blink, this is the Ron seal of moisture meters. It does exactly what it says on the box. The pros in a nutshell: instant moisture readings, because who wants to wait? We're not queuing for a bus. Accurate as a tabloid scandal, tailored for all your assorted plant babies, and the dial is as clear as a politician's denial, suited for both Alan Titchmarsh and your nan who's never touched a plant in her life. The cons: not the best for dimly lit setting. It's a bit like trying to read the football scores in a pub with mood lighting. Possible, but you might need a torch. So if you want NASA level accuracy, then this might not be your best option, but if you're after something sturdier than a British Resolve and easier than a Sunday morning, then by all means, this is a solid option. The next one on the list is going to go to my recommendation for the best value option, and this is the Govan soil moisture meter. So this is a solid option if you are on a budget. It's unpretentious but very reliable. First off, the Govan does know its place in the world. It's as analog as a vinyl record and just as hip. It's so straightforward, even a guy who thinks photosynthesis is a Snapchat filter can probably use it. And let's talk about the dial. It's as if the designers thought, you know what, let's make it so big even your nearsighted uncle can read it. And there's more. It also comes with a watering guide for over 200 plants right on the packaging. So imagine that. It's a how-to guide printed on the box. It's like having a cookbook printed on the underside of a microwave meal, except useful. The pros and cons: easy to read dial, because let's be honest, life's too short to squint at your plants. Color coded for those of us who consider reading an optional life skill. It's got a chart with watering tips for different leafy amigos. It's like a cheat sheet for your garden, and also no need for batteries, which means less fuss and more gardening. The cons: no case for the probe. That's like making a cup of tea and forgetting the sugar. It's still good, but there is something missing there. I would have liked a case. So if you're going for the Rolls Royce of soil moisture meters, then this is a solid option. It's a budget-friendly, reliable, dependable model with the ability to last longer than your commitment to that gym membership you swore you'd use. So on a budget, definitely go with this one. The next one on my list is my recommendation for the best hybrid, and this is the Trazon Soil pH Meter 3-in-1 soil tester. So this one doesn't just test moisture. This nifty device is to soil what a Swiss Army knife is to a knife. It does moisture, light levels, and even dabbles in soil acidity. So you've got your standard 1 to 10 moisture scale, of course, but then it has a 0 to 2000 lux scale for light levels and a pH range from 3.5 to 8. So it's like going to the fish and chip shop and finding out they also do sushi and tacos. A switch lets you toggle among the trio of soil sagas, all displayed on a single dial that's easy to read as a tabloid headline. Now it does well on moisture and light, but when it came to pH, let's just say it had the reliability of a politician's promise. So after testing it on multiple patches, A lot of users reported they did get the same pH reading, as if it was just like, yeah, they both taste the same to me. And that's kind of been a common theme. So diving into the pros and cons in a nutshell, it is brilliant for moisture and light, really as accurate as a cricket umpire's finger. Comes with a dual probe, battery-free design, like a two-headed dragon that doesn't need feeding, and also works both indoors and outdoors, which means you can be a plant nerd in any setting. The cons: the pH accuracy, like I just mentioned. That's where it's as reliable as a British weather forecast. Approach with caution, or better yet, just another device. So in summary, if you're looking for an all-rounder, looking for a 2-in-3 deal, this is a great option. It's not going to pass your A levels in chemistry, but it will certainly help you keep your geraniums from wilting. So consider it like the decathlete of soil gadgets. It might not win gold, but it's better than most. The next one is my recommendation for deep pots, and this is another Xlux. This is the Xlux Long Probe Deep Use soil moisture meter. So if you've ever wrestled with a potted fern taller than Danny DeVito, well, that's when you discover you've got an aquatic jungle at the bottom of your pot, isn't it? So meet the Xlux Long Probe Deep Use Soil Moisture Meter, or as I like to call it, the plant plunger. This gadget is pretty much like the last one's shorter cousin. Same dial, same color coding for your moisture detective needs. However, this version sports a probe longer than a British winter, over 12 inches to be precise. That's deep enough to realize your azalea is swimming in mud at the bottom while pretending to be in the Sahara on top. What's it good for? Well, let's say you've got a tall potted plant that's fooling you into thinking it's parched, but at its roots, it's sitting in a personal swamp. It tells you, mate, change the soil or I'm packing my leaves and leaving. The pros, in a nutshell: a foot-long probe, because some plants are deeper than others, psychologically and horticulturally speaking. Easy as pie to read, which makes you feel like the Stephen Hawking of the botanical world, and also color-coded like a packet of Revels. You know exactly what you're getting into. The cons: just like a dodgy British pub, not so great in dim lighting, and also it's a bit wimpy when it comes to hard soil, so treat it like a feather duster, not a jackhammer. So if you've got one of those skyscraper pots, this Xlux Long Probe is your best bet. Don't bring it to a stony garden or a midnight gardening session though, but if you're living in a flat filled with deep, complicated potted relationships, then this is probably the therapist that you need. Just keep it away from the rocky stuff. And the next one on the list is going to be my recommendation for the best for compost, and this is the RioTemp Garden and Compost Moisture Meter. So if you've ever felt like your compost pile is acting like a moody teenager, too dry, it's sullen, too wet, and it's an emotional wreck attracting all the wrong friends, enter the RioTemp Garden Compost Moisture Meter, a device that could be the headmaster of compost discipline. Some of the key features: now this one's got a probe as long as a British Q, 15 inches of authority right there. Before you stick it into your compost pile like King Arthur pulling Excalibur, you have to collaborate it though. But do not fret, it's easier than explaining Brexit. Turn a screw on the back, set it to 5 on the dial with an optimal sample, and then go measure to your heart's content. Above 5, let it out like airing your grievances, and below 5, give it a splash like you do with your gin and tonic. The pros and cons in a nutshell: the pros: heavy duty probe, thick enough to go against the toughest compost and not snap like a twig in a hurricane. Top mounted dial, easy to read even for those of us not graced with hawk-like vision. It's also collaborated for accuracy, because we all know compost is no joking matter. The cons: battery replacement is as fussy as the Queen's Guard. You got to unscrew this, remove that, and it could be a bit annoying for some. So if you're knee deep in compost and want to ensure your rotting dinner scraps are as comfortable as possible, this is really your go-to. It's not for the casual gardener. This is like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. But if your compost pile is the highlight of your social calendar, this gadget will make you the talk of the composting community. Alright guys, so hopefully there's something on that list for you. I've tried to include some variety there, but if you do have any questions, drop them down below, and if you found value in this video, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.